I'm Kerstin Rodgers, that's my real name, but I'm known as Ms. Marmite Lover. Why did I choose that name? Well, I do actually love Marmite. I think I do eat it every single day, in one form or another. And hopefully you're all going to be getting, I don't know, maybe a little bit later, you're going to get some Marmite on toast. So none of your Michelin star stuff. It's a proper Marmite on toast. And whenever I've actually served it at a dinner party or a supper club, people have always loved it. It's always been like their favourite thing. You're also going to be getting, unfortunately they're virgin, bloody Marmite cocktails. I've tasted one, fantastic. They're really good. But if anyone's got any hip flask, stick a bit of vodka in there. But they've got Marmite in, so you can use Marmite in lots of different ways. They should pay me for this. I mean, this is ridiculous. Okay, so I'm going to talk about good taste with entertaining. And so the first thing, how to entertain, because it's all very well running a Michelin star restaurant or a good restaurant, but how do we mostly have food and share food with other people? It's mostly at home. And I'd like to encourage people at home to entertain more. And I hope with this little slideshow and my talk that I'll encourage you to do that and you won't be frightened of it, because I think lots of people are frightened of entertaining. The most important thing with serving food, a bit like Florence just said, is the shopping. I mean, even if you can't cook, if you can shop well, then you can present a great meal just by good products, just by good, if you eat meat, I don't eat meat, you know, good meats or good cheeses, fantastic bread. If you haven't got much money, you can, I've actually got food out of bins. Well, I used to get this kind of squatter who lived in a swimming pool, and he was very anarchist, and the little bins are good, just letting you know. I found 4 bottles of champagne there once. You know, in those chocolate Father Christmases they do, you can find them complete, undamaged. So you can forage food as well. So, you know, you don't have to have a lot of money. One of the reasons I started a supper club is because, basically, well, I'm a feeder. I like feeding people. I get some kind of weird pleasure out of that. And, you know, you're always hosting dinner parties, and most dinner parties, you know, you have a couple of mates around, you spent 100 quid, haven't you? You know, it's very expensive. So I started charging people. And actually, before I charged them, not many people wanted to come round to dinner. Once I started charging them, more people wanted to come. That's the thing about good taste. What is it? Good taste is, it's mostly us imitating the upper classes, pretending to be aristocracy. Even the way restaurants, I mean, look at this. It's beautiful, this room, the way it's set out. But actually, we are imitating some sort of aristocratic medieval banquet, aren't we? It's not really how most of us eat. It's a treat. So when you do it at home, you're kind of pretending to be a restaurant. You're pretending to be upper class, although you don't have to do that. And I think that's what puts people off entertaining. So I'm saying you don't have to have a proper dining table or a glorious living room or a proper dining room. You don't even have to have chairs. You can do it on the floor. You can do it in bed. You can, you know, entertain someone anywhere, because what people really want is just to be invited over and to have a laugh and have some good food. So, next, is this working? Yes. Tableware. Now, I love kind of collecting vintage stuff. I've got a thing on right now where I'm collecting cut glass. I've collected blue and white china in the past. But if you don't have money, you can also entertain and do a beautiful table with jam jars. I did a whole meal. Every single course was served in a jar. You can use jam jars for drinking glasses. That's very chic, actually. For the flowers, I've done layered salads in jars. I've done cupcakes in jars. You can actually put, because most glass is heated, and you can put it in the oven and make a cupcake in it. So, you know, you don't actually have to have a lot of money, or you just go around all the car boot sales and the charity shops, and you can pick up some great stuff. In terms of things like napkins, you don't have to have proper napkins. You can use tea towels, thin tea towels. You don't even have to iron them, you know. So making a beautiful table, it is lovely, a table, isn't it? I mean, when you walk in, it's lovely with little bits of candlelight and glinting glass and the flowers. And it's a kind of an atmosphere, really. I mean, mostly, I guess we entertain at night and, it's low light and it actually just, you use a sheet, use a duvet cover for your tablecloth. You don't need to have all the posh gear. Guests. Now, actually, a lot of people nowadays, when they're entertaining, one of the problems is there's more of us who are single. And it's quite hard to entertain if you're single. You can't be in two places at once. You're trying to prepare the meal, you're doing the next course, and you need someone out there who's like welcoming people in, giving them a drink, keeping the conversation going. So what you actually want, you want a loudmouth at your party. That slightly boring loudmouth you might not like in real life is going to be great at your dinner party. You're going to keep it going until everybody's drunk enough and they're just talking to each other anyway. You want loud, extrovert, storytellers, people who like the sound of their own voice at your dinner party. It's also quite good to have a couple of randoms, a couple of strangers, not always the same old people. Just invite a neighbour, invite anyone, just get a new element in there. Spread your circle a little bit. I mean, really, entertaining in a supper club it's the real-life version of, say, social media, Twitter, Facebook. You're actually trying to have that mix in your living room. Now, people ask me when I have supper clubs, aren't you worried about strangers? I mean, I've never had an axe murderer in my house. I've never had anyone. In fact, everybody's been really well behaved. I do seem to have less LPs than I used to. But obviously I wasn't listening to them and I didn't miss it. But people generally behave quite well at your house. So this actually was at one of my supper clubs, but this guy was just joking. He was just mucking about. You need help, as I said earlier. This is my teenage daughter, who often acts as the waitress. She doesn't really like doing it, but I make her. But just get someone to help, serve stuff, get someone to kind of take stuff out. I often find when I'm entertaining, people go, oh, can I help in the kitchen? And actually, I don't want any help in the kitchen. That really annoys me, and I start getting really snappy. But what I do want is someone to come and take stuff out. And when you must ask for help is at the end. Get people to help you take all the plates out at the end and help wash up. That's really useful. Say yes to that. Doesn't always work, this, does it? Okay. So, when you're entertaining, the amount of times that I've ended up, I got so involved with the food, everything's running late, and then you open the door and you've got no makeup on, your hair's greasy, and you're still wearing your nightie from this morning. So I think the first thing to do, even if you're a bit whiffy and smelly by the time they turn up, is get washed and dressed, wear your outfit, put a bit of makeup on first thing, and then that means if you run out of time, at least you're looking halfway decent. As I said in here, I suggested a little bit of sparkles, a little bit of glitter, a bit of tiara while you're cooking. Always goes down well. Bit of glamour. Okay, another thing. Try not to drink too much before your guests arrive. Made that mistake. And have maybe 1-2 drinks before the main course. After that, you can drink as much as you like. But yeah, don't get too pissed. Not a good look. You could behave badly. You could end up losing all your friends through this dinner party. So yeah, if you're the organiser, you do have to stay off the booze until later on. Now, even if you're not providing the wine, and let's face it, that's very expensive as a host to provide all the wine, you need to give them one drink when they walk in. They've travelled, they come to your house, public transport, they're tired, give them a drink. Just one, so at least get 1 or 2 bottles of wine so they've got a drink as they walk in. Always have bread. Now, one of the things I don't like about modern cuisine is the lack of carbs. I love carbs. all this Atkins rubbish. I mean, I actually crave carbs. Did you know serotonin, it's not in your head, you know, like the depressing thing? If you've got depression, it's actually in your stomach. You actually have serotonin in your stomach. And carbs activate your serotonin. It literally make you happier. So a lot of times you go to these, you know, very sort of Noma influenced, I've never been to Noma, but you know, these influenced restaurants, and there's no bread. I can't stand that. Bread is so basic in terms of food, good bread. So, you know, either bake the bread, learn how to bake it, or purchase good bread. That is one of the basic rules. The actual cooking. So if you're entertaining people, just a one-pot dish is fine. You can do a soup, a bean soup, something filling. You can just do pasta with a salad. You know, anything is just, you know, if you're doing a 3-course meal, I would divide it up to think about what cooking facilities you've got. Have you got an oven and a hob, and maybe you've got an electric fryer or something? Divide it up between that. Pudding, I generally make the day before. So, you know, that's out of the way. In fact, I think it was Gordon Ramsay that said that pudding's very important. That's the last memory people have as they leave a restaurant or your meal. So always have a good pudding. And it's so easily, most of them can be done, left in the fridge or whatever if it's baked. So have maybe one thing cooked in the oven, a bake. As a host or hostess, that's very easy. You can leave it there to the last minute. And have maybe one salad, so that's, you know, cold. The pudding's cold, mostly, unless it's winter. And maybe something like a soup to start, which you can make in a big vat, and it's there ready to be warmed up at the last minute. So think about your space, your kitchen, what you've got. A rule, never make pasta for more than 8 people if it's not baked. It's really hard to get it right. It won't be al dente. It will generally not work. And I think the restaurants don't make it for more than 8 people either. So they're very careful. Normally a restaurant, when you think about it, a restaurant, they're doing, you know, a table of 4, everybody's going to have something different. When you're entertaining at home, it's like a supper club. Depending how many guests you've got, you're having to get that one dish out all at the same time to lots of people, and it's got to be piping hot. So that's why pasta for more than 8 is a bad idea. It's really hard to make it good. Food allergies. It can drive you mad. I mean, the modern host is in a quandary. I mean, you can have 4 people, and one's a celiac, one's lactose intolerant, one's vegan, and one's just fussy or on a diet. And, I mean, when you're doing the supper club, it's really hard because, I mean, sometimes people go, yeah, I eat something and I feel a bit bloated afterwards, and you're just looking at some skinny woman, you're thinking, yeah, it's called having dinner. You know, it's basically, it's almost impossible. A little bit of advice, always have a packet of tofu in your cupboard for those surprise vegans. Or a packet of halloumi is always good as a cupboard staple, especially if you're having a barbecue and you've got a vegetarian coming along, you shove some halloumi on the barbecue. There's a few basic things. If you have celiacs, and I do feel really sorry for celiacs. I mean, it's terrible not having proper bread. But Mexican food is great for celiacs. I mean, a lot of it's corn-based, and they can eat that. So, I do a lot of themed meals. I mean, quite a lot of my food is a joke, because I like to have fun with it, you know. And so recently I did a Doctor Who themed meal, a comedy night, and I served fish fingers with custard. People liked it. I made homemade jammy dodgers, because apparently that was used as a weapon against the Daleks. And then me and my daughter spent all night making these Dalek cupcakes. People loved them. And it's just a bit of fun. So, you know, feel free to have some themes. I did another meal in which everything was on a stick. From the cocktail right to the pudding. Although doing the spaghetti on a stick was really hard to make it stay there. But that was fascinating. Another one I did was It's a Wrap. Everything was wrapped in something. So, you know, play with your food, have themes. Just have fun with the whole food thing. No, this is supposed to be about good taste. Actually, a lot of my theme meals are bad taste because, I mean, I love vulgarity. I think one of the great things about, I mean, good taste is the French, you know, they have, you go to France, you go to Italy. In Italy, everybody's wearing beige. It's a sea of good taste beige. So boring. The French, they all their lovely scarves, and they're terribly boring. The great thing about the British is we're a little bit vulgar. And that's why we have all the great street fashions. And I think the same thing's happening in food. The downside, as Florence said, is that there's a lot of trends in London. But the good side is there's loads of ideas being thrown in. It's not all good taste, it's funny. So, you know, just, I think with good taste, it needs, anything pretty needs a little bit of ugliness to really set it off. What have I written there? Pudding. Yeah, pudding, really important. But if you can't be asked to make pudding, just give them a packet of chocolate buttons each. They'll be happy. They really will. Or a packet of Smarties. That works. Who's not going to like that? Who's going to say no? You know? Nobody. Right, clearing up. I try to do it the same night. Because otherwise, especially if you're drinking a bit, you know, the next day you're in bed, you know, watching Breaking Bad or something pirated, and you just can't be asked to get up and clean. So, and you end up 3 days later noticing there's flies over your washing up bowl, and try and get it done as much as possible that same night. And then in the morning you're getting up, you can have breakfast, you feel okay. You know, it's not absolute tip. And do get your friends to help you wash up. So that was my guide to good taste and entertaining. I don't know, have I gone over the time, or is it? We're fine. So if you want to find me, I'm on Ms. Marmite Lover on Twitter. There's my blog. If you Google Ms. Marmite Lover, you'll find me. And my book is for sale there. So it's called Supper Club. If you want to be a Supper Club host, it's got a 12-step program. If you just want some great recipes, there are some in there as well. And hopefully you would find it a good read. I'm working on a book right now, which will be out next spring, called Ms. Marmite Lover's Secret Tea Party. So that's all about teas, which are very much about people pretending to be aristocratic. I mean, the Duchess of Bedford is the one that invented afternoon tea, and then it filtered down. And it's interesting when people go to restaurants, they kind of behave differently, don't they? People sort of suddenly have nice manners, and you know, it's all holding open chairs, and you know, people behave differently in restaurants. We all suddenly behave a bit like we're in, you know, the White Queen or something, and. And that is rather nice, isn't it? But if you do a supper club, you can play restaurants in your house, and that's really fun. So thank you very much for listening to me, and I hope you enjoyed it.